This is not going good at all. This build just keeps getting even more and more expensive. I hope that red light on the GPU doesn't come back. I am flipping gaming PCs until I can buy a house. This could be a super fun hobby, but it can also be the complete opposite. But it's not all bad. I love Facebook Marketplace, baby. Now my goal for this series is to save at least $15,000, and in the previous episode, we left off right about here. I have two listings that I want to redo pictures on. One of them has a Ryzen 5 3600 RTX 2060. The other system has a Ryzen 7 3700X, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and an RTX 3080. That one also has not been selling, but hopefully once I update these pictures, they'll get more traction and then sell. That was on June 29th, about 9 in the morning, and literally one day later, we sold a build on Jawa. Jawa is today's sponsor. They're an online marketplace for people like you and I to be able to buy and sell new or old gaming gear. They sell everything from fully built custom computers to fit any budget, GPUs, and all the other PC components. Plus they also sell peripherals like monitors, keyboards, basically everything you need for a setup, you can find it on Jawa. And maybe you can find some bargains too. There's this ITX system that's 3 Mountain Dew cans tall, has an i5 11600K, RTX 2070. The seller is only asking $550. That'd be a great little system for 1080p gaming. Now yeah, you can build it cheaper yourself, but this isn't a bad deal. If you're a new customer shopping on Jawa, you can use my code ElijahsLab10, save 10% on your first order, so you can buy yourself a new computer or all the individual components to build a PC and get 10% off. Thank you Jawa for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out with the links below. So the system that ended up selling one day later was the one with the RTX 2060 and Ryzen 5 3600, and the day after that, July 1st, we sold the other computer with the RTX 3080. I ended up packing up and shipping both of them the following morning. The RTX 2060 build, I never had the original box for the case, so when it came to shipping this one, I made sure to use enough packing material to keep it all safe. I used 2 of these Instapacks. They do increase the cost a little bit, but it's so worth it. These were put on the bottom to act as a super strong base, and then I filled in the rest of the box and all the gaps with a good amount of bubble wrap. The profit on this build is almost as much as the total cost, and with every sale, we are getting closer and closer to our down payment goal. For the RTX 3080 build, I packed it up as I normally would, and the profit on this one is right around the $250 mark. These builds were pretty good in terms of the profit margin. I did get some pretty good deals, but if you're curious how much I try to make, it's at least 20% on every build. Any less, and it's honestly not worth it for all the time that goes into it. I would love to only charge 25 bucks over my cost so everyone can get a good deal, but it doesn't work out like that. Earlier today is when I shipped those 2 computers. I went to the UPS store. That was about 3 p.m. Then I came back home and I built this computer. It's a budget RTX 4070 computer, but it's not completely ready. It is listed for sale, but like I said, it's not ready, so we'll be talking about this later on. For now, we have this package to handle, and if you remember the inventory room, well, that place is still a mess, so we need to get it organized. This package that I'm opening is actually going to be so useful for us and will help a lot with getting more builds listed for sale. And if I can be honest, as of lately, I've had a hard time getting deals on these. Just a few days later, I found a deal on some power supplies from Mercari, and I bought 10 of them. They are more budget, high power, 500 watt 80 plus bronze units. They are refurbished from the seller, and for only $23.43 each, I won't complain about that price, and we received all the power cords. But now to work on this inventory room. Slowly but surely, this room will get organized. Last night I was in here for about 30 minutes working, just moving stuff around. So you can see I got a lot of the cases all in this corner. They were all spread out. Now what if I told you we're gonna be adding even more parts to this room, like today, right now. We're in the car. What does that mean? We're driving somewhere to get deals. Normally it is Facebook Marketplace, but today is a little different and the destination is 2.5 hours away. I've been driving for about 40 minutes. I'm making pretty good timing. We're a little over an hour away. I said it was 2.5 hours, but that was with traffic. I never know until I put it in Apple Maps and it will tell me the actual time, but it wasn't 2.5 hours. I bet it will be 2.5 hours on the way back though. And I guess I should tell you where I'm actually driving. We're going to Micro Center, one of my favorite places, but unfortunately the closest one to me is still kind of far away. The reason we are going here is because a couple days ago, I reserved an open box RTX 5060 for $250. So we're gonna pick that up. But then over the last couple days, I've been looking, checking their open box and clearance stuff. I secured some other deals, so fingers crossed we were able to get everything. It'll be a pretty good haul. We made it to Micro Center. I'll be honest, I have to take the biggest leak and I'm pretty hungry. I wish they had a little dining area like IKEA has, but not the quality of IKEA food because that food is trash. But let's go in, we'll get food after. Right now, we'll eat some deals. I had to empty the good old bladder, but we're heading to the front to the online order pickup.
Pickup?
Yeah, I have a few orders to pick up. There's one of the order numbers. Would it be better my name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Guerrero.
Yep.
I'll go look for it for you.
Okay, thank you. Everything is secured. They almost didn't want to sell me the GPUs that I reserved for myself. They were like, oh, these were supposed to be limit one per household, which I understand, but they were all open box, but I'm happy we were able to buy everything. But now I'm making my way back towards the open box aisle for any other deals. Yeah, nothing but overpriced used motherboards. We're done in the Micro Center. I spent close to $2,000, but we got some good stuff. You can see it all the way in the back. And yeah, the way back home is saying 2 hours and 12 minutes. You can see all the parts behind me. Let's go and start with the cases that I bought. They are all from NZXT, and despite what happened with them, I still love their cases. They're high quality, they're really aesthetic, and they sell pretty good. We have one NZXT H7 Flow. I want to say that is the only black case I picked up. It was about $70, which is pretty good for cases, especially now if you've noticed. They have gone up in price. And then I picked up an H5 Flow. That one's in white. That was about $42. Then I bought another H5 Flow. This one's the RGB version. That one was about $68. But now for the GPUs, and as I was saying, they almost didn't let me buy them. The guy that was helping me, they had to call the manager. They were like, it's normally limit one per household. And I told them, yo, I'm far away. I just check when I can, check the like closeout and the returns, and I reserve it because I'll hold it for about 3 days. So I was like, I didn't think it would be a problem. But luckily, after them talking, confirming with the manager, we were able to pick up 5 GPUs. Starting us off, we got a Gigabyte RTX 5060. That was about $250 after tax. And then we have 2 of these MSI RTX 5060s. They're the overclocked dual edition. Those were also $250 after tax. And then the final RTX 5060, that one right there. That one is the Asus overclocked version. The MSRP on that card is about $400. I paid $239 before tax. Bro, like, pretty good prices. And this GPU right here is an AMD card. That is an all-white RX 9060 XT. That was also $250 after tax. I feel like Mr. Krabs. But wait, there's more. I bought a Ryzen 5 9600X 3D combo, motherboard, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. That was about $423 after tax. I wasn't expecting to buy a CPU combo, but we will make the money back. At least I hope so. That's me smiling through the pain. Now the next day, I was working on a couple computers. The first one is this build with an RTX 5070. This is actually a part of a build competition on Jawa where they teamed up with Be Quiet and selected 10 of the top sellers from Jawa, and I'm happy I was able to be a part of it. By the time the video is out, the competition is over, but man, some of the builders that were selected seriously know how to make a good looking computer. So big props to everyone. The other computer I worked on was this build. If you remember that RTX 4070 PC from earlier, while I was waiting on a package from Amazon, I bought a 3-pack of RGB fans. A little later on in the day, I made it back in the inventory room. I was working on putting together some desk legs. Well, that's a desk if I ever seen one. I started today by selling a computer. It was actually an hour before I woke up. I checked my phone. I had a notification from Jawa saying it sold. That's always awesome. Great way to start the day. And here's the build. I'm not sure if I've talked about it in this series, but it has been on the channel. It's brand new, all bought from Amazon. Ryzen 3 4100. 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 240 gigabyte M.2 SSD, and the GPU is the RX 580 2048 SP version. I'm kind of surprised it sold, but the build is honestly pretty good. It dishes out at least 1080p 60 FPS performance in most games. But yesterday, July 4th, I sold another computer, and that's the parts you're seeing right here. It's not fully built yet. It was actually a custom build that I did through Jawa. This has been something I've been wanting to set up on my own website where people can email me or like submit a submission and they get a custom build for me. It just hasn't been done yet, but it worked out on Jawa. I was talking about her, they were really nice to talk with, but I found out they were upgrading from a Nintendo Switch. They didn't want to spend a ton of money. They told me around 600 bucks, so we ended on this. It's an A520 motherboard. I slotted in a Ryzen 5 3600 with 32 gigabytes of RAM at 3200 megahertz and a terabyte of SSD storage. And the GPU is an RTX 2060. Now last night around midnight, I did confirm these parts are working and I installed Windows on the SSD, so it's all ready to go. We just need to get it in the case. And if any of you are watching right now want a custom build for me, go ahead and message me on Jawa. My account is always linked in the description. Soon this will be set up on a website, but I can do the custom builds through Jawa for now. So if you want a custom computer, go ahead and message me and we'll work something out. I have a lot of parts, like newer parts too, RTX 4070s, as you've seen in some of these videos. I want to add a little more and explain how I'm going about it. Say you message me, I'll figure out what you need the computer for, your specific budget, the color scheme you want, and any other details like that. Then I'll put together a private listing for you on Jawa. You buy it, and I build and ship the system directly to you. And as a potential add-on service, you can pay extra to get a fully custom build video. I haven't fully ironed out the details on that yet, but I'm ready to start doing custom builds. So go ahead and message me, or you can wait in the future for when I have it set up on my own website. Well, here it is, my very first custom build through Jawa. The RGB fans are controllable through a remote, but man, purple always looks so good with the white builds. It doesn't matter if it's all white or white and black parts, but purple, it looks great. Now, as far as the build goes, it was put together with used and new parts to maximize value. Brand new 1TB SSD, new case, and the power supply is one of those refurbished 500 watts that we unboxed earlier. And for every computer I build, I always make sure to do things like update the chipset drivers, LAN drivers, enable XMP, and basic things like GPU drivers, Windows updates, and of course, you can't forget to update the BIOS and make sure everything is running stable with XMP enabled. For this computer's performance, in 3D Mark Time Spy, it scored 7,505 and gave us an estimated 75 plus FPS in Battlefield 5 at 1440p with ultra settings. I have a 1440p monitor, but it's packed away, so I was only able to test at 1080p, but in Cyberpunk with the in-game benchmarking tool in the medium preset, it averaged about 90 FPS. It's a little later in the day, both of the computers are packed up. I decided to do it tonight so that way in the morning I can drop them off at the UPS store right when they open up about 8 a.m. And that'll be perfect because then I can take a day or maybe two to finally finish setting up my apartment. It's an organized mess right now, but it just needs to be organized, not the messy part. It's still somewhat of an organized mess, although the inventory room is looking a little better, but still a mess. I kind of just have a lot of stuff. But the main focus right now is this computer that you see me working on. This is right about where we left off. Bought this thing about 2 months ago now for $900. Long story short, I thought it would be an easy fix. I had to spend a few $100s to buy a new part. It still isn't fixed, so I might have to spend even more money. Yeah, we're losing money. Now, to be honest, I didn't work on this computer after that, and I just realized I'm wearing another white tee. This computer has been sitting because I had to stay up well past midnight editing that last video, but I lived to see another day, and now we get another chance to work on it. Well, I'm all done taking apart the computer. I also decided to give the case a little bit of a wipe down. It had a home smell. You know, when you go to some people's homes and they have like a specific smell from scents or something, like those candles they burn. So I decided to give it a wipe down to hopefully take some of that away. I also went ahead and grabbed the other parts that I had already taken out of the computer from when I first bought it. And I didn't mention this, but the person I bought it from on Facebook, they had told me they swapped out the motherboard, and that's how they thought it was still a RAM issue because it was still given the same issue. But we actually got the new motherboard that they swapped out and the old motherboard that was in the computer at first. We got a very good Asus X870 full-size ATX board. This thing is fully loaded with a bunch of features. Even has that cool little like quick release on the PCIe slot, and it even still has the plastic peel on the little IO shield cover. But then on top of that, we got the other board that they swapped out. It's just a basic Asus like B660 board, but it has onboard Wi-Fi, has USB Type-C and everything like that. But the pins, they're looking a little questionable, maybe a little bent. We'll just have to see if that works and fully figure out what is actually broken with this computer. Other than the CPU, we know that thing is toast. As a quick refresher, the CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 9700X. Yeah, sucks. Yep, I don't know how else to say it. It sucks that it's dead. But I got some new parts here from Newegg. We have a Ryzen 7 7700X. And when I bought the CPU, Newegg had deals going on, and they threw in a free 1TB NVMe SSD. There's already one with this computer. It's a Gen 4, the Kingston NV2. And then for the other parts, we have a basic kit of 16 GB of DDR5. It's at like 5800 or maybe 4800, but it's really bad. I'm gonna actually swap that out for a different kit. Then of course the GPU is a RTX 5070, little sweet triple fan model from Zotac. This thing is honestly pretty light, and I was also curious what the power supply was. It's actually a Montec 850 watt 80 plus gold unit, non-modular, but it's all black cables, and it seems to do pretty well, or it should do pretty well. But now for the moment of truth, I'm gonna take this new CPU, put it in that B660 and that X870, see which board works and see what's broken. Hopefully it's just the CPU. Okay, we're going to test the X870 board first. Here's our brand new Ryzen 7 7700X. The thing is looking nice and shiny. Pins look good. Well, no post from the X870. It gets to the VGA light and then it shows the boot light, but the VGA light stays on. So, bruh, is this 5070? Oh, it does have a red light on the GPU. No, what does that mean? Well, I'm not too sure what went wrong, but I double checked the power connections on the GPU. There was also a standoff stuck on the back of the motherboard, so I removed that in case it was shorting something out. And I removed the CMOS battery and took out the M.2 SSD just to be sure it wasn't causing any boot issues. And then, there we go. Well, I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to do more testing on this to ensure it's not broken. I'm not sure what that red light was, but you can see we got a post. I also went ahead and tested the B650 motherboard with the original kit of RAM, and everything was seeming to work. It's 4:48, July 10th. I'll see you when this build is rebuilt and fully working. It is a little later now. It did not take me that long to build the computer. I also installed Windows, updated the BIOS to the most recent version, and I also started to test it out. Now you can see the computer behind me. It looks pretty sweet with the nice white LEDs. It can also be set to RGB. But if you see my face, I'm not really happy about this computer. I'm kind of tired of it. Yeah, I'm tired of the computer. This is not going good at all. I have the computer testing in Cyberpunk right now. You can probably hear the fans. I'm assuming that's the AIO. One thing though, it is not running well. The CPU is only around 50 to 60% utilization, and the temperature is the high 70s to like 90 degrees, yo. We probably gotta buy a new AIO. You know, I did think this one was pretty cheap. It was like PC cooler, or I don't know, it just looks kind of cheap, feels kind of cheap. Now I really regret putting this project off even longer. Sometimes I wish I could like clone myself or something. But to make things worse for the CPU, under full load in a Prime 95 test, it was basically above 90C the whole time. Yes, it's very intensive, but the CPU shouldn't be hitting 90C with what looks like a 360mm AIO, but performs more like a stock cooler and not even an AMD one, a shitty little Intel one. The brand of the AIO is Cooler One, and it's too bad it sucks because it looks pretty decent. And before completely deciding to buy a new one, I went ahead and reapplied thermal paste and made sure it was all tightened properly, and there was no plastic peel because this was already used. I set it back up, turned it on, ran Prime 95 again, and yeah, it was the same result. And honestly, it has me thinking the old CPU probably died from overheating. But on the bright side, this did happen during Amazon Prime Day deals. I bought a brand new AIO and a little AM5 cooling plate off of Amazon. I heard those help with temperatures, so we're gonna try those out. The AIO I bought is actually from Thermalright. It has a little LCD screen on it, but it has black fans. I'm just gonna swap the RGB fans out on these ones when the AIO gets here. This build just keeps getting even more and more expensive. I hope that red light on the GPU doesn't come back. It shouldn't, because it's been running pretty good. The only thing that's been bad about this computer has been the CPU. But fingers crossed everything stays working. We survived the night. It is the next morning. I'm a bit upset what happened with that 5070 computer. My plan was to be able to list it for sale this morning, but we gotta wait a few more extra days for those Amazon packages. But this box right here should make up for all of that. About a week ago, I decided to list one build on Facebook Marketplace since I have about 9 available right now. Decided to try it out again, and we finally got a message, and we should be meeting up today in about 2 hours. Well, here's a closer look at what's inside the box. Now I know you heard that. I am gonna have to fix that. The little GPU power cable sits right above the top fans and it hits the fan blade, so I need to tie it in the back of the case so it no longer does that. But yeah, this build is pretty sweet. It has a Ryzen 5 7600, 32 gigabytes of DDR5, and an RTX 4060. Now I built it in the last episode, and I know some of you in the comments were asking, why did he pair the Ryzen 5 7600 with the 4060? Not the best pairing, I do understand, but the build is all white and the 4060 matched perfectly. And it's just for a flip, but we may be changing things around. I still have 2 builds just like it, so I might be swapping out those 2 GPUs with some stronger ones if those don't sell. But finally, we at least sold one of the builds. We're in a bit of a different setting now, the garage. I am putting together a little makeshift home setup. This is actually my kitchen table. It worked out so perfectly because it's a nice little round thing. It's pretty light to pick up, so I'm making a desk in the garage so the buyer can see the computer all working before they even buy it.
Oh yeah? Yeah, she is.
Yeah. Well, here it is, man. I'll kind of show you a little bit. This app, Armory Crate, if she wants to change the colors here, just go here. You got a bunch of the static ones, red, orange.
This, let's count that.
1,000.
Facebook. Anything I should know about like cable?
You don't game at all or nothing?
It's fine, but I wanna play more.
You have time? Would you like rarely? It's not strapped. Plastic right there. I love Facebook Marketplace, baby. Let's go. I might use some of this money to make a better garage setup, but either way, I'm pretty happy with the profit. I love Facebook because there was no fees. Really good. Let's see some W profit in the comments. These sales were pretty good. I'm a bit upset about the RTX 5070 PC. I really wanted to get it listed for sale, but it seems everything is working out. I saw someone in the comments say I can maybe replace the CPU through warranty, so we'll try that out. Here's the profit from today's episode, total of 5 sales. It's looking like in the next episode, we might pass our goal, so is this it? If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe if you want, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.